everyone! Today you're going to start your new unit on fractions. So I'm going to start by showing you what a fraction is and why we use them. As you can see here, I have a picture of a circle, and I'm going to call this a pie right now. So in this pie, I can see that I have the whole thing, and that's why there's a big 1 in the middle, because that 1 tells me I have that whole pie. So when you see a big 1, it means you have the whole thing. Now, if I were to take this pie and cut it into 4 pieces, like this, and then I were to eat some of it, so say I ate these 3 pieces here, and now I only have that piece left, and these 3 pieces are gone. Now I can't use this big 1 anymore, because that big 1 was for the whole pie, and this is not a whole pie anymore. So now I need a different number to use to show how much of the pie I have left. So instead of using 1 whole, because that meant the whole pie, I need to use a fraction. And a fraction is written like this, and I think when you see it, you'll recognize a fraction. So it has a line across like this, and it has 2 numbers, 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. The number on the bottom tells us how many parts were in the whole pie. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4 parts in that whole pie. Now there's only 1 part in that pie. So that number goes on the top. And this fraction is called 1/4. It means I only have 1/4 left. So that is the difference between the whole pie and then part of the pie. And that's exactly why we use fractions. When we don't have the whole thing, when we only have some of it. So if we have a cake and we've eaten some, or a chocolate bar and we've eaten some, then we need to use a fraction to describe how much of the pie is left. Now, I'm going to show you some other ways that I could have sliced up my pie. So I could have cut it into 2 pieces, like that. And then each piece would be called a half. You say this fraction half. If it's cut into 2, it's cut into halves. This one here was cut into 4, which is why we called it fourths. Each part is called a fourth. Now I could also have cut that pie into 3, and then my pie would look like this. And each part would be called a third. And the pieces are a little bit bigger than fourths and a little bit smaller than halves. So depending on how many parts you cut your pie into, that will be telling you how big the actual part is going to be. Now, you can cut your pie into 5ths or 6ths or 8ths, and you can create fractions out of those parts as well. So I'm going to move over here, over to my board, so I can show you a little bit more as you're completing your work. You may see questions similar to this. So the number on top of our line is called a numerator, and as I said, it means how many parts are shaded. So you're looking for that shaded part for your top number. Your bottom number is called denominator, and that tells us how many parts are in total in the whole model. So I have 2 models here. Now this one looks like the pies that I drew before, but it's actually called a circle model, and these are the parts. And I can see that this circle model is cut into thirds. So thirds have a 3 on the bottom, and they have 3 parts to make the whole. And then I'm going to look to see how many parts are shaded. So I can see in this model there's 1 part shaded. So this model is called 1/3. That model is showing 1/3. Now over here, I have another kind of model, kind of looks like a chocolate bar, and maybe I've eaten these 3 pieces and I only have those 2 pieces left. You can also know it as a fraction strip. It looks like a rectangular strip. So again, to get my bottom number, I want to figure out how many parts are all together here. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts in total, which means that strip is cut into 5ths. And I can see that 1, 2 are shaded. So that means my fraction is showing me 2/5. Now, there's one big rule you have to remember about models. When you have a model, all the parts must be the same size. So if you see a model that's cut like this, that does not work. You cannot write a fraction for that model. All the parts are not the same size. If you see a model cut like this, okay, that does not work. Those parts are not all equal sizes. So you have to be very careful when you're using fraction models. You have to make sure, number one, that all the parts are the same size. And remembering that the number on top is how many are shaded, and the number on the bottom are how many in total. So I hope you have fun learning about fractions today, and I'll talk to you more about them as we keep on going in this unit. But this should be enough to get you started. Have a great day, everyone.